Welcome, everyone, to The Explainer. Look, if you're a senior procurement manager, you already know the global trade landscape has completely shifted. Welcome to 2026. We are looking at a world where shipping is absolutely no longer just some basic, afterthought commodity. Instead, it's become this crucial strategic lever, a real game changer for managers looking to aggressively reduce overall costs and keep their competitive edge. So, let's jump right in. There's this quote in the playbook that really hit the nail on the head for me. Shipping is no longer just a commodity, it is a strategic lever for procurement. We are dealing with wild fluctuations in fuel costs, rapidly evolving trade regulations, and this massive global push for green logistics. It requires a fundamental mindset shift. You can't just glance at a static price sheet anymore. You really have to understand your shipping partner's infrastructure, their digital capabilities, and their actual boots on the ground. And that entire mindset shift centers around one core concept: total landed cost. This is absolutely the financial metric that every single logistics decision you make has to aim to minimize, all while keeping your supply chain highly predictable. Whether you're moving massive industrial parts or super fast e-commerce stock, your choice of partner must directly and measurably optimize this specific number.
So here's our playbook for the year. 1. 2026 Global Procurement Logistics Rules. 2. Mastering Pricing, where FOB beats CIF. 3. The 6 core supplier matrix. 4. Our cost reduction tool, hybrid logistics. And 5. The green logistics and compliance future. Let's get to it.
Section 1. 2026 Global Procurement Logistics Rules, the strategic paradigm shift. Let's start by laying down the ground rules for sourcing out of China right now. A simple price check is dead. Seriously, you're navigating crazy fuel volatility, complex new trade regs, and very strict environmental mandates. To minimize that total landed cost we just talked about, you've got to evaluate partners across 3 distinct buckets: asset-heavy carriers who actually own the ships, domestic giants who control China's internal network, and digital disruptors who give you ultimate data visibility. Section 2. Mastering Pricing. FOB beats CIF. Taking control of your supply chain. All right, this brings us to literally the most critical negotiation lever you have as a senior buyer. Chinese factories are almost always going to push you for CIF, cost, insurance, and freight. Why? Well, because it's super easy for them. But under CIF, you completely lose control over destination costs and vendor selection. You inevitably get hit with hidden fees. To execute a real strategic logistics network, you absolutely must insist on FOB terms, free on board. This puts you securely in the driver's seat, you dictate the exact partners, and you strictly control the destination costs. And this brilliantly illustrates why holding the power to choose your specific vendor is the prerequisite to lowering your total landed cost. If you don't buy FOB, you can't choose your partners. If you can't choose your partners, there's no way you can build an efficient, cost-saving logistics network. It is really that simple. Section 3. 6 core supplier matrix, the logistics toolkit. Now let's see how this builds into our vendor selection. I want you to start treating these top 6 companies not as fierce competitors fighting for one contract, but as distinct tools in your toolkit. We have DHL for speed, Maersk for end-to-end control, MSC for massive capacity, Costco for port priority in China, Sinotrans for domestic inland networks, and Flexport for unparalleled data visibility. Let's look at these in dynamic pairings to really grasp their procurement value. Zooming in on the digital and speed specialists first. DHL handles your emergency restocks and prototyping with zero friction. 48 to 72-hour speed is just unrivaled. On the flip side, Flexport gives tech-forward buyers the exact SKU-level data needed to manage inventory dynamically. Yes, Flexport charges a premium, but that tech prevents massive demurrage and detention fees at the port, actively pulling your total landed cost down. Now, comparing the heavyweights, MSC is your volume king. If you're moving massive amounts of full containers on trans-Pacific lanes, their scale gives you incredible spot rates, even if their customer service can feel a little, robotic. But contrast that with Costco. This is your ultimate safety net. Because they're a state-owned powerhouse, when the pre-Lunar New Year rush hits and everyone is fighting tooth and nail for empty containers, Costco has the unparalleled home field advantage. Finally, let's look at integration versus inland dominance. If you want a beautifully simplified factory-to-door supply chain on one platform, Maersk is your integrator. But, and this is a huge but for procurement managers looking to cut costs, if you are sourcing goods from deep inland Chinese provinces like Sichuan or Henan, Sinotrans is the undisputed king. They completely dominate the first mile, moving goods to the coast via their massive rail and trucking network. Section 4. Cost Reduction Tool, Hybrid Logistics. Combining suppliers for maximum efficiency. Now that we know our tools, here is the master stroke for 2026. How to actually combine these suppliers to drive your total landed cost into the ground. Savvy managers do not rely on a single provider. Let me repeat that. Do not rely on just one provider. Instead, you engineer a hybrid logistics model. It's like a giant puzzle. First, use DHL to fly your rapid prototypes in for instant approval. Second, hire Sinotrans to gather bulk goods from 3 different factories across a province and consolidate them into one single container, dodging massive LCL fees. Third, hand that container straight to MSC for the absolute cheapest ocean transit. Boom, you've optimized every single phase. So this leads to a super common question. Is it cheaper to book directly with the massive asset-heavy carriers, or should you just use a forwarder? Well, here is the reality check. Unless you're moving over 100 containers a year, using forwarders like Sinotran or Flexport is actually cheaper. Why? Because they group your smaller shipments with hundreds of others to secure bulk rates from the big carriers. They leverage their massive scale entirely for your benefit. Section 5. Green Logistics and Compliance Future. Preparing for ESG Mandates. As we look forward, we have to talk about the massive regulatory shift hitting the industry right now. Make no mistake. This isn't just a marketing gimmick anymore. By 2026, carbon reporting is mandatory in many major global jurisdictions. This is absolutely critical because your choice of shipping partner now directly impacts your company's ESG reporting and legal compliance. Your logistics choices are literally sitting right on the desk of your legal officers. Because of this, green credits are becoming a strict procurement necessity. Companies like Maersk and DHL are really leading the charge with biofueled shipping options. If your brand positioning relies heavily on sustainability, utilizing these specific leaders isn't just nice PR, it's a mandatory procurement strategy. They provide the exact verified documentation you need to protect your brand and pass those mandatory compliance audits. So I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought to challenge your current setup. Take a hard look at your supply chain today. Are you still relying on just a single logistics provider? Are you still letting factors push you into expensive CIF contracts? Or are you ready to take the wheel, demand FOB terms, and engineer your own cost-slashing hybrid network? Mastering these specific levers is the real key to dominating procurement in 2026. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I hope this playbook transforms the way you view your supply chain.